Hey guys, this is Rays, and today we're gonna go into part 7, I think, of the HUD from Scratch tutorial series. So I know it's been a while since I've done one of these, and I apologize. I picked the worst possible time to start this series because right when I started, I got busy with school, and this kind of screwed me over. But enough of that. Let's get into it. So I believe I finished tutorial 6 talking about how we would go into boxes, like an intro into boxes, and then maybe cover some basic animations, like some basic HUD animations, such as having your ammo or health change color whenever you're hurt, or things along those lines. And so we're going to cover both of those today. And honestly, HUD animations can be a little bit complicated, so we're just going to kind of treat this as an intro into HUD animations. We'll get into more complex stuff once we get around to doing things like animating the medic's overcharge bar, but I think we're still a tutorial 2 away from that. So we're going to cover basic HUD animations, and we're going to go ahead and add in those boxes that we've been hoping to add in for quite a while now. So loading into the game here, we want to make our boxes, or our box, I guess rather, something that I guess is the same size on both sides of the screen. By that I mean I want our ammo box to be the same size as our health box, just because, again, that goes back to the whole deal with consistency. And if you have something that's consistent on both sides, then it creates a very symmetrically and aesthetically pleasing image. And so that's what we want to kind of shoot for today with this. And so that's why I actually switched to medic, because I believe the medic has the largest, I guess, ammo radius, because he's got a 2-digit number for his ammo in the clip, and a 3-digit number for his ammo in reserve. And I believe the same goes for the sniper. No, see, he only has 2 in ammo in reserve. So medic's typically the one to go to when you're trying to figure out just how big is big enough when it comes to ammo. So let's get right to it. We want to add a box. So before we add our box to our health, even though we did our health edit first originally, I think it'll be best for us if we actually edit the ammo first, because since the ammo is larger, it's kind of a corner case, which is I guess a special exception to the rule that we'll have to deal with, and then we can easily fit our health within that. So first things first, what kind of HUD element do you want when you're going to be adding a background, or I guess a box behind a particular HUD element? Well, you'll see it a lot whenever we get to the scoreboards. In fact, a lot of HUD's scoreboard composition is almost entirely boxes that just have words associated with the positioning of those boxes, and those are all stored in something called an image panel. An image panel can contain two things. It can contain either just a background of a solid color, which is what we're going to be doing, or it can be used to represent an image of a specific type, and that's somewhat complex, and that's kind of a new breakthrough in HUD technology, or I guess the future of HUDs is being able to import custom images, and I know some of you guys are kind of anxious to get to that, but I think it's important to knock the basics out of the way before we get there, so we're not going to do that just yet. But anyways, that's what you can do with an image panel. You can either import an image or you can create a box, and we're just going to create a box of a certain color. So we're going to edit this in our HUD ammo weapons, and we'll go ahead and open up the file here. And again, if you don't know what I'm talking about when I mean image panel, I mean right here where we determine the type of control variable that the specific section of code is given to is going to be an image panel. So in order to do this, we're not going to reinvent the wheel. I've been here before, and I've told you guys this before. If there's a resource available to you that you can use to get your resources from, and then modify them to your liking, then so be it. Like, if anything, I would recommend you do that, because you can write all this from scratch, and I'll try to explain it as if I wrote it from scratch for the first time. That way you'll kind of understand what's going on in the background. But I honestly feel like there's not really a point, because once you know how everything works, you're just going to want to copy paste again, like, as much as possible anyways, because it gets really tedious retyping the same lines of code over and over again. Visible 1, enabled 1, all of that stuff. You can kind of cut out with copy paste. And I know I told you not to copy paste, and I'm kind of contradicting myself, but this is, I guess, a special exception. because once we break out the image panels, and depending on how you want to style your HUD, you might need a whole bunch of these. So it's really easy to instead just copy paste. I actually took this from the scoreboard file of my own HUD, and then change it to your liking. So obviously this isn't the scoreboard background, this is our ammo background, so we're going to say ammo BG, and we'll change our field name, ammo BG, and we're not dealing with X position and Y position. And obviously those are not going to be correct, especially because I told you not to use C positioning within a panel, which is what this is doing. But right now we just want to make sure that this is all the stuff that we need, and it is. You know, our field name matches, our control name is an image panel. And before I edit the X and Y position, and the height and the width, then let me kind of walk you through this process and explain to you just exactly what it is that I just copied in. Alright, so obviously, you guys know the first few things, right? Control name just tells you what type of, like, you know, what this chunk of code is. Field name associates with the name up at the top, that way the code knows what to, you know, what to do, how to interpret it. And then X and Y position and Z position, those are all our positioning stuff. Now this is a little different. Before, wide and tall was used to position the frame that held the HUD element that it contained. And so, like, you know, for example, if your ammo frame was too small, then you'd need to edit your ammo and clip wide and tall values so that it wouldn't get cut off by that frame. Well, you know, this is actually, I guess, in essence the same deal. But because we're just having this fill of color, and that's it, like that's all this does, then the wide and tall values actually dictate how large our, I guess our background or our backdrop or our box is going to be. You know, there's no, like, whenever you're dealing with image panels, you don't define the wide and tall and then put the box within that. The wide and tall values define the box. And again, let me repeat myself just to get myself to get my point across here. The wide and tall values define the box. So assume, let's turn on SV Cheats here, and we'll go to our VGUI draw tree. We're gonna go look at our ammo. We're gonna go. Oh, I didn't do that right. We're gonna go look at our ammo, right? So we have it checked to highlight selected. We go to our TF panel, and we go to our HUD ammo weapon. So ammo and clip. Right, this box, this is what defines this is what defines our ammo and clip. So anything that goes outside of this box is going to get cut off. We'll pretend that our new value here, the ammo BG, is the same exact size and positioning as this panel here. Well, instead of there being just like a box within this box, just pretend that this whole entire panel is filled in with the specific color, because that's all an image panel does. And I might have over-explained that, but I just wanted to really get my point across there. But yes, alright. So pin corner we don't actually need, so we can go and get rid of that. In fact, that's one of those commands that it's in the, like, you'll run into it in the HUD files, especially when dealing with images and image panels, but I haven't actually figured out a use for it. Like, regardless of what I change the value to, or even if I remove it, it doesn't seem to do anything, and I don't really know why Valve left those types of commands in, but just get rid of it. And again, you guys know visible and enabled needs to be set to 1 so you can see it. And this last value here, the fill color, I kind of touched briefly on it a minute ago, but basically what this is similar to our FG color here. A fill color just allows you to define the color of your box. And right here by default, I think in my scoreboard file in my other HUD, raysfire, I just used a set numerical value here. But if you think you're going to reuse this number that you choose, then it's really good to define it in client scheme. And since we're going to be having a box both for our health and our ammo, I think we're going to go ahead and define the color. So what I like to do when I'm doing this is I like to first, let's get the box on screen, so we'll fix these X and Y positions, and then we'll do the positioning in a second. So right now we're just trying to get our color. HUD reload scheme, and cool, we've got our giant box on the screen because, again, the wide and the tall values have not been adjusted yet, but we can kind of see what we're working with here. Anyways, what I like to do is, when I'm working with a new color for the first time, is I'll actually use the numerical value here first, and I do this because it doesn't require me to edit client scheme, which means I don't have to restart my game to see changes. You know, like I can easily change this to 255 and do a HUD reload scheme and see the color change. But then once I've actually decided on a color, then I'll actually close the game out, go define that color in my client scheme, and then change the value in the file. And that way, That way you have all the fun of experimentation, but then all of the I guess all of the solidity of defining all of your colors in client scheme. So, um, anyways, back to this. We want a nice, somewhat transparent black color. Maybe a little bit more transparent than that though. That seemed a little too much for or sorry, not enough for my tastes because it was still really visible. So we're gonna like actually raise that up. Let's try a 150-ish. Let's see what that looks like. Do I like that? Actually, we'll try 125 or yeah, 125 should be fine. See, what I'm trying to do here is I want it to be where you could easily still see the drop shadow behind the box, but I also want the box to be like solid enough that it serves a purpose. You know, I feel like if I made it too transparent, then it wouldn't be good because then it wouldn't be like useful for anyone, and that's not fun. So I think I like this though. This is a good background color, and so we're gonna go with this. And I think I'll actually go ahead and shape it all up, and then once we have it how we'd like it to be, then we'll go ahead and get out of the game and make the proper adjustment. All right, so obviously it has to be this wide. Oh. Obviously it has to be about this wide, right? Because again, whenever I open up the VGA draw tree, we remember that I went medic because this is the largest box, like potential box that you'll run into. So we're going to adjust accordingly off of that. So first let's do our X positioning, and then we'll adjust the height and width. Okay, so let's see. Whenever we put our X coordinates the way they are, it's pretty good, but it overlaps with the control point. So I'm kind of tempted to move over my image panel a little bit, or not my image panel, my entire thing over a little bit, and we're going to do that actually, because I kind of like how it's spaced out right now, but I don't want it to overlap with another HUD element. And oh, I opened the wrong thing. I'm still in my own HUD files. Let me get out of there. Alright, so we're going to go to our HUD layout, we're going to edit our HUD ammo weapons, and we're just going to bump this over. And again, you'll find that as you do your positioning, you might need to go back in and eventually, you know, resize or move something over just a little bit, and that's fine. Like, no one's going to heckle you and say, oh, you're bad for doing that. Don't worry about it. And most of the time, people won't even notice anyways, unless they're looking at your HUD files, and even then, they'll just be like, oh, he probably saw something you needed to change. And you did, so. Anyways, this is good. But I think we might need to move over that box just a little bit even still. So we'll try 5 here. Do HUD reload scheme. And oh, what did I do wrong here? Oh, I got rid of the wide value. Again, everyone runs into mistakes. If something unexpected happens, just go back, backtrack your steps, and I guarantee you'll find the issue relatively quickly. Okay, so I think this is pretty good. I like the X positioning anyway. So now let's adjust the Y. And our Y positioning hasn't been moved at all, so I think this looks like it's probably about a 25. And again, this is going to be a big guess and check thing. You guys will get better with this the more you do it. It's just one of those things that comes with practice. So, alright. So we kind of want our ammo to match our health. And when all is said and done, I'm actually going to go in and add in that team colored line to the ammo as well, just so you'll know, I guess, your health. Or sorry, what team you're on, regardless of whether or not you look at your health or your ammo. Maybe just a little bit more. We'll try a 34 here, and I think that then we might be in business. All right, so that's good. We're gonna rock with that. We're gonna go with that. So now we need to adjust our width. Obviously, these values are way off. So let's go ahead and change those. That's actually getting pretty close. I wasn't expecting that. And adjusting the wide and tall values is just like the X and Y position. It's going to be a lot of guess and check, and the more you do it, the more you'll get better at it. And cool, that's pretty good. And the reason I like this right here, this particular wide value, is because you'll see that regardless of well, let me switch to Scout and we'll just double check. It's kind of hard. This is why boxes are tricky. It's because things like this can kind of get in the way in terms of your I guess your style or your theme. Is that there's so many variations. Like, see, the Medic's 40 and 150 is way different than the Scout's 6 and 32. But anyways, I think it'll be fine. I think that'll personally be fine for what we're doing. And again, this is just for practice anyway, so by no means does the HUD have to be perfect, but you'll really have to kind of tweak things to make it how you like it, because you won't get it right on the first try, like 90% of the time, I promise. And even if you think it's right, you might run into a bug later and have to go in and fix it. And again, that's okay. You know, you don't have to freak out about that. That's all right. But I think for what we're doing, this should be fine. The important thing is that I didn't want any ammo to go outside of the balance of the box, and it looks like that we're accomplishing that goal. So we're gonna keep rocking with this. And obviously, the Y doesn't need to be this tall. It goes off the screen, so we'll try a 50 and see what that looks like. And I think we're actually pretty right on the money there. That's about what we want. And you'll note that if I go somewhere bright, I think there's bright lights out of here. If I go somewhere bright, I'll have to turn off my view model. Let me do that. Our draw view model. Yeah, you'll see that the bottom is a little bit lower than the top, and that's because we're going to add in that team colored line, so we're going to go ahead and do that right now. And again, like I said, no sense in reinventing the wheel. If you've already done it somewhere, then go get it from somewhere else. And we have already done it. We already have made our team indicator. So we'll just take that little guy and put him in our ammo file. We'll actually put it right next to the ammo BG. That's why it's not confused, or that way it won't be confusing. And again, it's okay to use the same field name here, because once you go to a new file, it's as if all of your field names reset, right? So if we were to put this team indicator on top of another team indicator, for instance, if we wanted to make a team colored health cross, which is something that a lot of people do in their HUDs, then you'd want to have team indicator and team indicator 2, or, you know, vertical and horizontal team indicator. But since we're on a different file than our health, it's okay to keep the same name because all of the variable names will reset. So we're going to go ahead and save it, and we'll do a quick, just to see where we're at. And it looks like we did a good job. The team colored indicator is actually almost right where we want it to be. I think the only adjustment we'll need to make is maybe if we take a little bit off, we'll lower the tall value by 2 on our ammo BG. And alright, cool. So now all we have to do is move over our team colored indicator, which we can do easily by adjusting the X position. And again, the reason that it showed up like so far pushed to the down and to the right on our ammo weapons file is because it was positioned for our HUD player health, and since it's a different file, you know, panel conversions carry over and all that jazz. But this is when, like, whenever you're trying to do stuff like line up things perfectly, this is when adjusting your panels beforehand really pays off, because since we positioned our ammo and our health to have the exact same like height and positioning vertically on the screen, then it wasn't much work for us to then go in and copy paste one element to another and have it work out nicely. And this is looking pretty good. I'm really liking how this is turning out. So now we just need to edit our wide to adjust the width of that. I think 105 should do the job, alright. And there we go. So now we've got this really cool team colored indicator for our ammo, which is pretty nifty. And again, we might go and adjust this on down the road in the future. But for just kind of like getting our feet wet in the ammo, or I guess the box making business, I think this is pretty slick. Again, I don't necessarily know how I like some of this stuff, so we might go in and fix it up later. Like for instance, it appears our actually we'll go ahead and we'll do it now. You know, we're just gonna do it now. There's no sense in doing things later whenever this is what we're actively editing. I don't really like how the ammo no clip works out, and again that's right because the panel doesn't work out with our I guess our larger ammo BG panel, and so we can go in and adjust that. And again, this is one of those things that where it just shows to or it just goes to show you that sometimes you'll need to go in and you'll need to readjust things so they're how you want them to be, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Because like I said, you won't ever get anything right on the first try. So we're going to do that. We're going to do that. Boom. And hopefully this will solve our issue. Okay, so see, whenever you do something like this, it's a lot of guess and check, but again, this will really help you out having this resource. Okay, cool, so now we just need to adjust our positions accordingly. Alright, yeah, because I forgot to base the X and Y positions of our ammo and clip, not ammo and clip, our ammo no clip off of the panel, and as a result things are a little skewed. And again, we'll make our adjustments here, 36, do our save, close the panel, HUD related scheme, and what do we got? There we go. So that's looking really cool. This is actually, I'm liking this a lot better now. See, originally, our ammo no clip was not centered, but now it is centered on the panel, and our ammo and clip is also generally centered on the panel too. So this is good. This is actually looking like a pretty nice box. I'm liking it. So now we need to transfer it over to our health, and that actually might mean we'll have to, we'll probably have to adjust our team colored indicator on the health, because as you can see, the way we currently have it, sometimes especially when you go heavy, it goes off from the indicator, but that's okay. We'll do that adjustment at the end. So just like we copied over our team colored indicator, we're going to copy over our ammo BG, but instead of copying from health to ammo, we're going to do the vice versa, and we'll do that, and again we'll put it next to our team colored indicator, but we want to change this just in order to have relevant names. We're going to change this to health BG, so we'll rename this health BG, and boom, there we go. And let's see what it looks like. Alright, so again, our height and our tall values are pretty much correct. So we don't have to do anything, because again, that's the wonders of our panel that we did earlier, or our panel editing, our frame editing that we did earlier. But our X position and our wide are obviously a little bit off. So again, I like to go heavy in this instance. In fact, you can even use the command hurt me, just to see like with how much you're going to be working with here. And you generally don't have to accommodate for multiple digits like this, because here, let me actually get rid of this. We don't need that. Alright, but if you want to, you can accommodate for larger digits of health. I don't know, maybe you're making a HUD that works for modes like Saxon Hail or something, where having a high number of health is actually a valid thing, then you can do that. But for this HUD tutorial, we're just going to be working with 3 digits, so I think having a hurt me of -999, which will put us at right around 3 digits, will be just fine. Again, we're going to edit that cross later, but for now, let's just get rid of it. It's getting in the way. And I don't think I covered this earlier, but if you don't know what the health is, I think it's this HUD health bonus image. There we go. Yeah, we didn't get rid of the bonus image. That's why that's there. So we're gonna get rid of that for now. Change visible and enable to 0, and do our HUD reload scheme. And again, we have to edit our wide tall values. Yeah, again, this is something I probably should have done earlier. I apologize. This was really sloppy on my part for not taking care of this. So we'll change our wide tall to 0, get rid of that, and it'll come back into use later. Oh right, I forgot. In order to get this off, you have to do literally everything. All right. So I'll go more into detail about what alpha is in the future, but this is just so it doesn't take away from what we're doing. Oh my goodness, this guy's a fighter. What did I do wrong? Again, this is one of those things where you'll run into issues. I might even be editing the wrong HUD element. I should probably check the VGUI tree. This is one of those situations. Alright, cool, we got rid of it. But that's one of those situations, if you're trying to get rid of something, the VGUI tree is your friend, so don't be afraid to use it. Alright, so we're in the triple digit health range, which is what we want. That's cool. So now we just need to position our panel. Now obviously it doesn't need to be this wide, so we'll cut that down to about actually, let's get our X positioning down first. So we'll move this over to about 55 from 50, or I think from 5. And kind of right, not quite. More guess and check. I don't want it to be that far off, so we'll try 85. Oh, actually I'm going the wrong way now. I'm crazy. 65. That's what I meant to do. And then finally 70. And that's good. I like that. So now we just need to go in and we need to edit our wide, so we're going to cut that down. A lot of the same stuff that we just did a second ago. And maybe a little bit more on the wide. Try a 90. See how that works out. And again, we'll do hurt me just one more time to see. Okay, so this is good. This is good. So even though it cuts off or overlaps a little bit on 4 digits, the fact that we made our health value large enough to accommodate more than 3 digits is amazing in its own regard, and even still, it's generally centered within the box. It might overlap a little bit, but I mean, what are you gonna do? So that's good. This is good. I like this. And just to double check, we'll check it when it's at 3 digits again. But I think it should be fine. I don't think any of the 3 digits should overlap, and they don't. So this is good. This means we have a good box, or a good size for our box. So now we just need to accommodate our team colored indicator. We're gonna move this over to match, and since we moved it over 15, we can know then that we need to at least change our width by 15. And when we do a HUD reload scheme, the panel on the left-hand side, so let me open up our VGUI draw tree again here. This should all be filled in, but then this should all still be here, and then we'll need to add in, I think, probably 15 more. And yes, so then we'll add in those extra 15, 90 HUD reload scheme, and there we go, guys. So now we have our health and our ammo done, and I think that looks pretty good. It works like it should. Everything is nice. This is good, and you'll see that I can jump around. I can do whatever I want, and everything works out just fine. And I think probably one little tiny adjustment I want to make is I want to move my health up a little bit, because since we have that team colored indicator at the bottom, I feel like our health and our ammo numbers kind of take away from the top, and it leaves the top empty. Again, this is just a styling thing. You don't have to do any of this. This is just something that I personally want to do because I feel like it would make the HUD better aesthetically. And so we moved that up. Cool. Now we're going to move up our ammo up to... so we'll have to do it for everything. Ammo and clip, ammo and reserve, ammo no clip. So we'll change this to a 33. I did a bad thing actually. I put the team colored indicator and the ammo BG in between our ammo and clip and our ammo and our ammo and clip BG or shadow. So I'm gonna just move those over. So we move this up. We move this up. Ammo and reserve. We move this up. I think I moved that up too. So we'll move this up too. And finally moved this up. And we'll move this guy up right here. And boom, let's take a look. Alright, cool, we've got that moved up. Everything looks to be in order here. And it looks good. Everything looks like it's working out alright. One thing I did notice is that our ammo and reserve actually never mind, my eyes are crazy. Yeah, this is good though. This is good. This is what we want. Nothing cuts off all of our health and our whatever fits on screen. So now we're going to get around to animating it. So we're going to be introducing a new file here today, guys, and it's going to be called the HUD animations _ TF2HFS, which is not surprising considering I've been talking about the word animations for the last few videos now. So again, we need to get it from our base HUD files, so we're going to navigate to our base HUD, and we want to take, it's in scripts, and it should just be called, where is it? Right here, HUD animations _ TF2HFS, right next to our HUD layout. And we'll just copy that guy right in there. So we drop him into our scripts, and it's one of the few, oh my god, how did that get there? It's one of the few files, I think you'll probably only have 5 or 6 that you'll really need to work with in scripts now in our directory here. So when you open it up initially, it's kind of got a key at the top that helps you out, and it actually is really useful, but some of the stuff you won't need ever, and some of it you won't need until later, so I'm just going to go over the basics. But you've got kind of a guide at the top that tells you how things work, and then you've got these events, and these events all correspond to different things, and generally the name's pretty descriptive, like, oh, when you close a menu, all of this stuff happens, or, you know, whenever you're incrementing the timer, all of this stuff happens, you know, etc., etc. And so obviously, what we want to be working with is, I think the first things we're going to do is health, because health is fun. So when you initially do a search for health, you'll find this section called Health Bonus Pulse, which is an overheal. You know, the bonus health overheal, yeah, it works out. And you'll see that when you scroll down immediately, you'll find Health Dying Pulse, which again corresponds to when you're running low on health. And so these are going to be the two events we're working with, or I guess sections of code. There's a few things in here that we're going to be working with, and it's going to look kind of overwhelming because you're going to see a bunch of numbers in here, and you're going to be like, oh my goodness, what's going on? Like, what are they? What's even happening? And again, we'll be doing ammo after this, but ammo is also right next to it. The health, which is really convenient for us because all three of them are right here. But don't get freaked out by this stuff. Basically, the way this works is there's an event at the top called HUD health bonus pulse, or whatever you're looking at, HUD health dying or low ammo or whatever. That's kind of the initializer, and it says, okay, when you're running low on health, when you get overhealed, these things need to happen. And then basically, what happens here is it'll read through these lines, and it'll be like, okay, so we want to animate this, and we want to animate this, and we want to run this event here. And once it sees this run event thing, then what it'll do is it'll go down to this next section of code, because you'll see that the name actually corresponds with this here. And for those of you that have done programming before, it's kind of like calling a method. That's kind of the comparison I would make. So like you've got your method here that runs this event, and they kind of work off each other. Actually, maybe that's not the best analogy. Forget I ever said that. But you've got this you've got these things here which do certain things, and then you've got this thing here that tells you to run an event, and then it has a number. And the number represents the amount of time it takes to run the loop, and so you can change that number. And I'll show you more about like why you'd want to do that in the future. And then the last event we have down here is HUD health bonus pulse stop, or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, whatever you're working with, and then stop added to the end. And basically that says, okay, you're done with this event. We want to go back to normal now. Then do these things. Do these things. And so, I guess the best way to put it is, this is the initializer. This top loop, or not loop, this top event is the initializer. This lower loop is the ender, I guess, or I guess the terminator. Oh, the terminator. And then this middle thing you can kind of ignore. It's just kind of a helper event that helps make sure all of this runs smoothly, and you're not ever going to work with that. But what does it mean? What does all this mean? So basically, pretty much any time you do an animation, it's going to start with the term animate, which in short, and I believe at the top it even says this, animate means to, well, that's just how you initiate a command, right? And the way they have it set up here, animate, panel name, variable, target value, interpolation, start time, and duration, it means, okay, so when you animate something, you have to first specify the panel name. And if you don't know what the panel name is, that's any one of these things, because again, we've been talking about how these are all panels. And then the variable represents the variable we're going to be changing. So what that means is, okay, once you've selected your frame, then what variable, which is all of these things, within that frame would you like to adjust? And then you've got your target value, which is what you want it to eventually go towards or be at once you're running the event. And then you've got your interpolation, which is basically how long it takes to get there, or how it approaches the target value. And there's a lot of different things you'll see here that all do different things depending on which one you decide to use. But for our particular tutorial, at least this intro into HUD animations, we're just going to use the linear interpolation, which means there's no adjustment. It just goes towards your eventual goal at a definite speed. And again, you can kind of read here and see what all of these do if you really want to try to experiment with those. But that's not something we're going to cover till later. So keep that in mind. And then you get to pick the length of time and the duration. So for instance, let's just we'll use like a mathematical idea here in Paint. So let's imagine we're looking at our animations, right? And our target value is 255, right? And our initial value is 0. So we want to approach this value 255. That's our eventual target value, and we give it an interpolation of linear, which again, those of you who are unfamiliar with it, this is a mathematical term. It basically means there is no slope. Like you always have a definite slope on your graph. So like for instance, this is a linear equation. Assume this is a straight line because there's no adjustment in the tangent line, and that's calculus. We're not going to deal with that. But basically, all you need to know is linear is a constant speed, all right? Linear is constant. And so you can just ignore all this. But we want to approach this value, and we give it a start time and a duration. So let's assume we want to start this at the beginning of our event, right? So we want to start it at 0.0, and we want to eventually reach this target value after a duration of 1 second. So if we give it a duration of 1 second here, then throughout the course of 1 second, we would like to approach 255 from 0 at a constant speed, which basically means that if you were to take 255 and divide it by 1 second, then you would be able to figure out the amount of values that changed in that 1 second in order to eventually reach your goal. And it gets crazy, and this is probably the most mathematically involved thing you're going to have to deal with in terms of HUD editing, and that's probably not a very good example, but hopefully that might clear up things for some of you that are more, I guess, mathematically inclined, or you like the mathematics. But anyways, now that we've explained what all this means, let's actually implement it and have it do something. Oh, I searched for name. That's not good. We want to search for health. All right. So these first two things you'll see here, those are unimportant because we have removed the player status health bonus image. That was actually the thing that was causing us problems when we were doing that adjustment to the health a second ago. But we removed that from the screen, and I'll cover that more into detail later once we get into more advanced HUD animation stuff. But for right now, we just want to change the color. That's all we want to do. So first things first, let's specify our panel, right? So we're editing our health. We're editing our health in what? We're editing the player status health value, which is our forefront health value. So we'll go ahead and copy that in. And you don't have to add quotes if you don't want to. They don't in these files, but adding quotes I don't think will break it. So you're welcome to leave the quotes in the name here if you'd like. That's fine. And what do we want to change here? We want to change our FG color. We don't want it to be white when we're overhealed. So that's going to be the value to edit. So we'll type in FG color, and then we'll put in our target value. So let's try a nice blue when we're done. So again, the target value is, okay, this is what you're currently at. This is what you want to be at once you're done. So we'll add in our nice blue value. Well, it should be like an aqua value actually. And then we get to pick our interpolation. Now, for our case, we're not going to have any animation. It's just going to go straight from one color to another. However, you can mess with the animations and work it out so there is a transition. But for means of simplicity, for you guys that are new to animations, then we're just going to go straight from one color to another, and then you're free to experiment on your own afterwards. So we're actually going to have a timing value of 0. So initially, remember, this first value is what we want, or when we want it to start. And obviously, whenever it's 0, 0, that means it starts immediately when the loop runs. So we don't want to delay the color of our health. We want it to immediately change colors when we're overhealed. So we'll give it a start value of 0. And you'll see here, this is kind of a trivial thing. I gave it a length of 0. And basically what that means is it doesn't ever end. See, if I were to give it a value of 0.1 or 0.5, it would mean after half a second, then it would be done. Like the animation would be completely done. And so that's not what we want. We want it to stay forever. So by setting a value of 0, it basically means, okay, start at 0, but then do this indefinitely. And that's what we would like to do. So we'll save our file. Alright, so we're going to save our file. And now when we do a HUD reload scheme, we should be able to use the hurt me command and have our health value change color. And boom, there we go. We've got that nice aquamarine color. However, what happens whenever we're done? What happens, like, let's assume that we're done with this animation, and we just want to go back to our normal health. So let me actually use a hurt me command of something a little more than that. So we'll do hurt me 800. Oh my god, that's negative 800. That's the opposite of what I want. Alright, so you'll see now I've got this overheal, and eventually the overheal will wear off, so it should go back to a normal health color, right? It should go back to white. But wait for it. Uh-oh. See, there's an issue here, right? You'll see that even though we made our animation and it changed the color when we were buffed, now that we're back to normal health, it's still this blue color, and you're thinking, what's going on here? Well, it's really simple. Honestly, what happened here is you did the first animation right. If you get to this step where it works when you want it to, but then it doesn't go back, it means you did the first step right, which is good. You're halfway there. However, there's this little guy right here. Stop. This is what we want to look at now. Stop. What happens when we're done with our overheal? What happens when we're done with our buff when it goes away? Well, then we have to make it stop. Like we have to say, okay, we're done with the overheal. Go back to normal now. And so again, it goes the same way as it would before up here with our normal animation. We just need to make sure that our FG color changes back. And again, we use this this font definition, or sorry, this color definition of white underscore TF2HUD. So, oh, I scrolled off the screen here. So we can just do a copy paste of that. And what this says now is, okay, so when we're buffed, change to this blue color, but when we're done, change back to our white. So we'll save the file, we'll do a HUD reload scheme, and now you'll see that if I do hurt me, and then I do hurt me of 750, oh my god, I'm really bad at this. You'll see that once we're done with our buff, it goes back to normal. And there we go, we've thus completed the circuit, which means we've done our animation to where it'll change colors whenever we're buffed, and then go back when we're done. And the nifty thing about this is once you've done one, you've done pretty much all of these things. So like, for instance, now it's really easy to go in here, copy paste into our dying pulse, and then all we really have to do at this point is, because we've already typed out this line of animation, we just have to change our I guess our panel here. So in our instance, it would be HUD player status health value again, because we're still working with that health number, so that's cool. We don't even have to change that. And then the number. So let's use a red color. So we're gonna do like 255 0. I think 120. I think that's red. I don't know what that is. Let me see if that's red. All right. So I'll go Boston Basher Scout, and I'll hurt myself. And again, I forgot to do a HUD reload scheme. And it's like a pink color. Yeah, that's gross, man. That's gross. I don't like that color. Okay, so let me change that a little bit more. And I know what a lot of you are probably thinking. You're thinking, man, what can I do with this? Like, can I use this to change the transparency of my health number so it like goes away? Yes, you can do that. You can do all of these things. Literally, whatever you could possibly want to edit, you could do it. Like, if you wanted to, you could have it to where the health like turned off, like the visible and enabled changed to 0 when you got hurt, as long as you specify that you want your visible and enabled fields to go to this 0 whenever you're hurt. I don't know why you'd want to do that, but HUD animations are really cool because they give you the flexibility to do so much. All right, so let's get a good health value here. We actually want to make it probably less. We'll do 128 and 255. What does that look like? I'm really bad at memorizing color codes, so that's purple. That's something. All right, let me reference a color code really quick. Color picker, and again, you can see I've been here before. We just want a nice orangish color, so we'll pick. Actually, we'll go with yellow. Yellow is cool. All right, so 100, 255, 255. Well, roughly that. So we'll do that just to kind of get our editing out of the way. And, oh, okay, I'm here at the end of the round. That's incredible. Alright, and I know this video is running late again, but I feel like this is like the HUD animations is like its own monster. And if you can learn the basics to taming the HUD animations file, you're going down the right path here. Alright. Oh, I think I forgot to save. Oh, did I do the wrong thing? Oh, they always, okay, it's actually 255, 255, 0. That's what it was. I was looking at the wrong numbers here. 255, 255, 0. Again, everyone makes mistakes. Don't feel bad even if you make a silly mistake. And that's a red color, or a yellow color, and that's fine for what I want. Okay, so now we just need to have it switch back. And again, we did already do that with our bonus pulse. The same animation applies here. And so you'll see now when I touch the resupply, it goes back. And when I use hurt me, it goes blue, and then when I do hurt me again, oh, it goes back to normal. So cool, we've now successfully animated our HUD player health just how we want it. And similarly, the same thing goes for ammo here, where you can animate all of your ammo things. So we're actually do a copy paste just for means of time. We'll paste those guys in there. And you'll see I'm going to paste these 3 times, and the reason I'm doing that 3 times is because there's 3 things you're going to want to remember to animate when you're doing the ammo, and a lot of people will forget this, so it's important to remember, is that you're going to be editing first your ammo and clip, ammo and reserve, and then also ammo no clip. That's the big one, because remember that's its own HUD element, and you have to, oh my god, did I delete it? I did. I'm a dingus. Alright, there it is. You have to remember that this is separate from this, and if you don't animate both, then it'll work for one but not the other. And a thing that some people like to do is they like to animate their the background, so the drop shadow, and have it change colors. I know PV HUD is notorious for this, where when you're running low on ammo, instead of your ammo and clip changing to red, it'll just instead be your background or your drop shadow changing colors, and you're welcome to do that too. Okay, so I think what I like to do is I always like to make my ammo and clip red. So we'll actually kind of just make this like a deeper red, 200 boom, and then I like to make my ammo and reserve a yellow, and I think we're actually going to use that same yellow that I used for the dying poles because I kind of like that actually. Maybe a little bit more orange, but since we're just trying to save time here, then that's fine. And again, for means of consistency, we want our ammo no clip to have the same as our ammo and clip. Boom. And again, we want all of these to go back to their default, which is that same white color. So once we're done, we want to change these all to white TF2 HUD. So ammo no, or ammo low pulse, white TF2 HUD, white TF2 HUD, and white TF2 HUD. Boom. Alright, so now you'll see that when I'm running low on ammo, when I run low on ammo here, it should change colors, which isn't necessary in a HUD, but some people like it. And so there we go. Those colors might be a little bit harsh on the eyes, but again, this is just something we're doing for an example, so it's fine for what we're doing right now. But pretty cool. And again, you'll see when we get ammo, then those health numbers, or those ammo numbers, go back to their default values. So we've successfully animated both our health and our ammo. So if you get to this point in the video, you're already like really far ahead of most people that try to edit HUDs. A lot of people have no idea what's going on when they look at HUD animations. So if you can get this down, this is another one of those advanced techniques that if you understand this and the whole frame explanation, then you've already pretty much learned HUD editing. You could go on your own and make your own, and do a good job of it actually. It's just I'm trying to be as thorough as possible, so I'll go into more examples and stuff later, but just kind of as a closing remark for you guys, I'm going to show you just how flexible HUD editing really can be. So let's assume our changing the color of our health when we're buffed, it wasn't enough for us. We want to change the color of that background panel, right? We want to make it better. We want to change our background panel to, let's just say, a dark blue. We want it to be a dark blue color just to show that we're buffed. And a lot of HUDs use this. I know HUD, for one, has done this in the past where instead of the health number changing, the background changes. And so this is just to kind of give you guys an example that this is something that's possible. So again, we want to change health BG because we change our panel name. And then what is it we're changing within that? It's not our FG color. Remember, it's fill color. So we'll change fill color, boom. And then we'll copy this and paste it down here. And we'll have it go back to the default, which I think was 0000120, I believe. 125. And save. And now we'll do a hurt me of 50. And we'll, whoop. Oh, it looks like I made an issue here, or I made an error somewhere along the lines. Let's see, where exactly did I make that mistake? Again, this is kind of the pains of debugging. Sometimes it can really get to you. You'll be like, oh my god, what am I doing? What am I doing with my life? Let me reference my other HUD file that I edited the other day. And again, we're going to be getting into stuff you guys haven't seen, but just to make sure that I didn't make a mistake somewhere, I'm going to check that out. So let me go to health. Let's see, what did I forget? Oh, right, Excel. Yeah, sometimes you'll need to use a different value than linear, and I think whenever you're editing, I think when you're editing image panels, you have to use an Excel interpolation. But if you set the value to 0, 0, it'll work the same anyways. So again, we'll change this to Excel and do a save. And now when I do hurt me, it should change colors. Let's see, I must have forgotten something else here. What all did I forget? I must have made a mistake somewhere. Oh, yeah, okay, I think that's what it was, right. So, a workaround for this is, and this is something kind of complicated. Maybe I picked a bad example to show you guys for a first time edit but what you can do is actually replicate your background if you want to animate this. So we can create health BG buff, for instance. And you can use something called the alpha value, which pretty much just is the same thing as this right here, which controls the transparency of the image panel. And we can just set it to 0, and then have it be what we originally wanted it to be here. And basically what this does is what this will do is it will change our alpha value to 255. So instead of changing the color of our image panel, we've just duplicated our image panels. So instead of health BG being the only one, we now have health BG buff, and it's set to this value. And what will have happen here is whenever you get a buff, it'll just take your health BG buff element, change the alpha value to 255, making it fully transparent, and then whenever it's done, then instead of just changing the color back, we'll just change the alpha back to 0, which should get rid of it. So we'll do a save. Now I'll do hurt me. And what am I missing now? Again, this is just one of the pains of, oh, I forgot to save the file. That's what I forgot to do. Alright. 50 hurt me. Negative 50 hurt me. Yeah, but this is just one of the pains of, I guess, oh, yeah, see again, I forgot to change my field name. One of the pains, and there we go, that's finally what we were trying to do all along, right? One of the pains of HUD editing, but also one of the joys, because, it enables you to do so much. It's just sometimes the method you have to do to get there is kind of crazy. But you'll see now that we've properly named everything properly and duplicated this image panel, then once we get a buff, our alpha changes to 255, it shows up, then whenever we go back to normal, it goes away. Now I'm not going to save this because I feel like it's not something that would be useful, but just to show you guys that it can be done, and if you want to do it for your HUD, you're welcome to do that, but just to kind of give you ideas and show you just what you can do with HUD animations, it's really nifty. Anyways, guys, until next time, thanks for watching, and remember, don't forget to post your GitHub repositories like every time you make an edit, because all that'll help you in the long run is all that will do in the long run is help you in case you make a mistake in the future. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys.